Arsenal have been in limbo for a long time. It's been almost 2 decades since the year of the Invincibles, and for the first time since then, they really look like proper title contenders. How have these guys been able to go from 9 trophyless years under Arsene Wenger and dropping out of the top 4 after him to being top of the table in March? It's a long story, just like it's been a long road for Arsenal fans. The visible change in Arsenal has been the tactics, and in this case, it isn't just formation on the field. Tactics here also include the general change in the club's modus operandi in all facets of management. It's a revamped culture at Arsenal that doesn't just look good, but it's incredibly effective and efficient, fueled by a coach who demands only excellence from his players. It all starts with the coach, of course. Yes, sporting directors are important in modern football, but a coach with the right long-term vision is arguably more important. So the first kudos for Arsenal is picking a coach with vision, despite his inexperience. When Arsenal sacked Unai Emery and replaced him with Arteta, many of us thought it was simply a lazy decision. Hiring a former player who has spent some years as assistant to Pep Guardiola, easy and lazy. However, time has proven the club right, because Arteta grabbed the wheels of the tumbling bus that was Arsenal, made changes to the engine, and slowly and assuredly steadied it. Most of these changes went under the radar, just like they tend to do as results always take the attention, and results weren't great. Arsenal, under Arteta, finished 8th in the league in his first 2 seasons at the club, and while that's surely a disaster for any big club, Arsenal decided to stick with their man. But it wasn't blind faith though. The word process is being used loosely a lot these days, but at Arsenal, there was a real process to see and trust. First, and very importantly, Arteta had secured a trophy for Arsenal just months into his reign. In spite of the bad performances in the league, Arteta managed to clinch the FA Cup. The Gunners beat Manchester City and Chelsea to win the trophy. This trophy showed the decision makers at the club that Arteta could win. He just needed the right pieces in the process. Now to the pieces, both off the field and on the pitch pieces. The truth is, in the realm of professional sports management, the appointment of a process manager is only half the battle. It's the same in football, and it's seen at Arsenal. The key to success lies in providing the necessary infrastructural changes to support on-pitch endeavours. For Arsenal, this pivotal realisation was brought to fruition through the workings of a new technical director. Mikel Arteta arrived at the club in December 2019, just after fellow former Arsenal player Edu Gaspar arrived in July of the same year as the club's first ever technical director. However, Raul Sanllehi held superior power in 2020. It was after this that real changes to off-field tactics began. This infrastructure overhaul proved instrumental in the team's improvement as we see it today. A fresh scouting tactic began to be employed, and the process for getting new players took a different, more modern turn. In 2020, Edu announced that the head of recruitment, Francis Cagigao, would be leaving the club. This very move signalled a significant change in operations. Arsenal decided that data doesn't lie, so data will be relied on for player acquisitions moving forward. Edu announced that StatsDNA, an internal data and analytics company which Arsenal bought in 2014, would be the base for decisions on which player fit the club's needs. Knowing this, the acquisitions of players and the growth of young players at the club are not surprising. Now, getting players with the right numbers is great, but players are not robots, and an important tactic in player management is getting the team managed by the right people who can help the players grow physically and mentally. So, along with Arteta, Arsenal got new backroom staff. Among them were the strategic hirings of Steve Round and Albert Stuivenberg as assistant coaches, along with Inaka Kana Pavon, who was brought on board as the team's dedicated goalkeeper coach. The following summer saw 3 more experts added to the team's ranks: Carlos Cuesta, Andreas Jorgensen, and Miguel Molina. Each of these assistants has been tasked to fulfill a specific role behind the scenes. An example is Carlos Cuesta, who has a small popularity amongst keen onlookers and is serving as a particularly noteworthy addition to the team. He speaks 6 different languages and can connect with all the players. As a key individual development coach, his multilingual abilities have made him an invaluable presence both on and off the pitch. If you've seen Amazon's All or Nothing series on Arsenal, you'll have likely seen him in action, counselling and mentoring players. Off-field tactics are only effective when the manager has enough tactical nous to craft a system good enough to compete. It is this system that decides the parameters to be used in player acquisitions, and it's here that Arteta has excelled the most coming into this season. It wasn't very obvious in the first seasons, but there were telltale signs. At its core tactical level, the team began to show signs of tactical improvement and a blueprint of Pep's web work through Arteta. To carry out tactical instructions, a coach needs the right players and the right atmosphere. Arteta sought to create exactly that, and, with the backing of the board, was successful. Players like Mesut Ozil and Pierre Aubameyang were world-class players who had produced for the club at different stages, but they would leave in 2021 and 2022 respectively. Arteta wanted a certain culture at the club and they just didn't fit. The next thing Arsenal did that has led to massive improvement this season is player acquisition. Helped with the Stat DNA system, the club brought in Gabriel Jesus and Alexander Zinchenko from Manchester City, two winners who were familiar with the system Arteta wanted. They also recalled 21-year-old William Saliba from Olympique Marseille, where he was on loan and won the Best Young Player of the Year in the previous season. The additions were made to a team already progressing in the process: Aaron Ramsdale, Martin Odegaard, Thomas Partey, Ben White and Bukayo Saka. The changing culture also turned around a player like Granit Xhaka, who in the past was quick to anger and not always far from the referee's books. Basically, the 2022-23 season has been a special one for Arsenal. While it's been fair to mention that their progress has been helped by top teams in the league underperforming, yes, we're looking at you, City, Liverpool and Chelsea, you have to say that Arsenal have been worth their top spot on the Premier League table. The tactic of positional play has been mastered and used to its very best. With the addition of Zinchenko at left back, a player who, before joining Manchester City, used to play as an attacking midfielder, Arsenal can look to create advantages by creating a box midfield shape when in possession. Instead of overlapping, Zinchenko inverts into midfield beside Partey. This allows him to join build-up and play progressive passes while still being able to defend his flank in transitions. This gives Arsenal a somewhat numerical advantage in midfield, while also giving one of the midfield duo further up the field, Odegaard or Xhaka, freedom to roam into the attacking spaces ahead and causing overloads there too. This in turn allows the front three of Martinelli, Jesus and Saka to be flexible in their positioning. This tactic has displayed results in wins, goals scored and top spot on the table. But more tellingly, it has helped Arsenal get so many touches in the opposition box this season, increasing their chances to get a goal in every game. They have pummeled many teams into submission simply through this. Finally, one more thing Arteta appears to have inculcated in these players is spirit. Arsenal are now able to grind out results even when they're not playing so well. Unlike we saw against Fulham earlier in the season, and more recently against Aston Villa and Bournemouth, the boys never stay down. They keep fighting until the very last second. That's how champions play. Of course, Arsenal fans are still trying to be economical with their expectations, and you can understand why. But realistically, what do you think of this title charge? Do you think Arsenal can go all the way to win the Premier League after 19 years? Or do you think they'll fall just short? Let us know in the comments. And of course, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel.